Drill Week 2025!
The Wednesday Night Info Show.
The Wee Vee. This one was suggested by somebody else. They said, hey, have you tried First Act yet? And I said, no, I haven't. And they said, well, you need to get on Goodwill and you need to try yourself a First Act. You need to have one, at least one, and give it a shot. And so I found one that wasn't really expensive. And I went ahead and put in my bid of $21. And then I went back and looked at the pictures and kind of realized what I was getting myself in for. It didn't have an output jack. I doubted very seriously if the volume knob worked very well. It was missing a saddle and a string. And the frets looked like you might need a tetanus shot. But as I was trying to talk myself out of ordering it, somebody asked me if I might consider the fact that maybe, perhaps, possibly, I was a gear snob. And I got offended by that on some level because it was true. I'd always avoided these First Act guitars thinking that there was something wrong with them, that they were toys. And then I had to laugh because remember, my motto, they're all toys. So I went ahead and decided to pick up a hot-rodded humbucking pickup and then put in a bid on this thing and actually hoped to win it. And I did. The pot doesn't feel like it would be sticky. The tuning pegs seemed to be moving relatively well and they weren't loose. Yeah, it was filthy. But let's take a good look at it. All right, let's look at this thing closely. I know we're going to need a new saddle here, if not an entirely new bridge. It's got no output jack. This, who knows what's going on there. Of course, I'm going to replace the pickup and figure out a way to hopefully get the sticker stuff off. The frets are not pitted and there's no overhang or anything. There's no fret sprout, but as you can see, the frets are in horrible condition. This is pretty dirty. Man, I'm not so sure about these tuning pegs. These are the mini tuners, and as you can see, they've lost a lot of their finish. But I don't know if I'm going to keep that. Patina, or you say patina, I say petunia. Don't know what we're gonna do with that. But, and as you look at the back of it, you can see it's definitely got some road wear, which is fine. I mean, that's kind of what I'm looking for when we look for a project. And we do know that it was in fact made in China. So that's what we're looking for. And it's interesting to me that does have left and right-handed tuners. If you look at it, these are definitely made for that side, and these are definitely made for this side. So we'll see what I've got in the bin, see what we can replace with parts, and where I can replace, I'll go new, and where I can recover, I'll recover. With all due apologies to JoJo, I think I'm going to use some of the devil's dandruff here. And I know that's not the way he refers to it, but I'm going to choose to call it that for purposes of keeping this family friendly. All right, so here are my options. I can use these, which are going to require some changing of the holes in the back of the neck, which is not a concern for me. But the problem with that is I will have to drill out the neck, which in an old dried out neck like this, I've actually broken one before, even if you hydrate it and go slow. So I think that knocks these tuners out. So I could replace it with these tuners, which are newer versions of the ones that are on here, except for this one. And that's because this one has an overhang, and so that runs me into problems. So that won't work either. So the other alternative is to use the existing tuners, which is kind of funny because I pretty much think after figuring all this out, that's where we're going to go.
we're going to use the existing tuners and just hope they work.
The back of the headstock was kind of rough, and I've learned that if you lightly sand it and then, after it's smooth, treat it with some lemon oil, it looks almost original. The blue stuff is Mother's Speed Waterless Wash and Wax. It's really good on high gloss black paint. I'd really hoped that I would have a bridge that I could just swap out with the old one. That way I could go with something that looked a little newer. But in all of the stock that I don't have anything that's the same size and matches up with the same mounting screws, which means I'm going to have to use the base of this bridge with new saddles. Now, what you're watching is what exactly 1 minute's worth of work with this motherless, waterless wash and wax is worth. Wow. That's a lot of W's. But look how shiny it is. Here's some free advice. Remove the saddles from the old bridge with an electric drill, but start them on the new bridge with a hand tool. That way you won't strip them out. And then you can switch back to the electric drill if you want to. Now that I know that the bridge is sorted, it's time to work on the pickup. Now I know I have really had a hard time with humbucking pickups, but I'm going to replace this one with another humbucking pickup. And I'm going to reuse this mounting bracket that's already here. Anytime you're going to put a covered humbucking pickup where an uncovered humbucking pickup was, you're going to have to adjust the corners on those mounting brackets. My suggestion, especially when working with plastic, use a file. Take your time, and that pickup will fit in there just like it was meant to. And who knows, maybe it was. Now, the fun part is it doesn't matter what I find in here. I've already got a 500K tone pot that I'm going to take the capacitor off of for a new volume knob and a new output jack. I just have to get in there and take the old ones out. I'm not going to show the wiring because that's all over the channel, but I do want to show you what WD-40 can do to an old guitar body. Just squirt a little bit on and then rub it in with an old rag. And as you can see, it not only cleans it, but it especially takes care of that sticker residue that was left behind. It takes a little more pressure, but ultimately it comes off relatively well. Now you want to remember, though, to take some compressed air and make sure to evaporate that as quickly as possible, just to make sure that you don't have problems with it catching on fire later. And then, after I get it all clean, I use that Meguiar's waterless wash and wax. And even on the old black gloss paint, it really, really shows up quite well. Of course, the disadvantage is now you can see my mug in the reflection. So I will go ahead and clean all of the surfaces on the body, all the way around. WD-40 first, the waterless wax and wash second, and then buffing with a dry towel third. It doesn't take that much time, probably about 4 minutes total because it is a small guitar body, but it really makes a big difference overall. Now that the body is cleaned up and the wiring has been accomplished in a separate section, it's time to go ahead and start putting things back together. Put the bridge back in place, go ahead and screw it down. Put the pickup in, go ahead and get it secure, get everything soldered together. And then, you got to go for the clicky sound. Like I said, you can see that all over the channel. I won't include that here, but just know that took place. Man, that bridge looks really, really good. Hard to believe it's the same one. And so now it's time for the flyover. This is what she looks like after spending about 2 or 3 hours having a spa day, getting all cleaned up, new electronics, new saddles, but mostly original hardware. New pickup, of course. Everything else has just been cleaned and polished. Now, let's take her for a test drive. Introducing the Wee Vee.